2010 was a really, really bad year for Johnson & Johnson. No, seriously, in the history of multinational corporations, I don't think anyone had a year that sucked quite as much. First, you had to recall 40 types of kids' medicines for being contaminated or using the wrong ingredients. Then you had to recall nearly 500,000 boxes of contact lenses after customers experienced extreme pain while wearing them. Less than a week after that, you recalled all your supply of antacids because people had found pieces of wood and metal in the tablets. And to make matters worse, your line of hip replacements ended up shedding dangerous metal debris in the bodies of the people who used them. But none of this, nothing, could top the Risperdal marketing scandal. The cherry on the cake for a really, really terrible year. You see, Risperdal was one of your best-selling medications. It's an antipsychotic drug prescribed to treat people with schizophrenia. But like so many pharma companies before you, people with schizophrenia just didn't seem like a big enough market to target.
But how do I make money off depressed people?
Only around 2.8 million people in America have schizophrenia, but nearly 6 million people in America have dementia or Alzheimer's. Two diseases you thought Risperdal could be pretty good for. If you could just get all the old people with dementia onto your drug, you'd triple your customer base. And since dementia patients don't exactly have the power to decide what medication they want to take, you had the perfect way in. Omnicare, the biggest company supplying medicine to nursing homes in the US. If you could get Omnicare pharmacists and doctors to swap out their patients' regular dementia medication for Risperdal, you would be golden. So even though the FDA had warned you that Risperdal could be deadly to elderly patients, you still offered Omnicare everything from sponsorship payments, grants, and even actual profit sharing in Risperdal to make your plan a reality. Basically, you bribed Omnicare to give their patients your drug instead of the medicine they were supposed to get. By the way, all of this is super illegal. In the 5 years that Omnicare marketed your drug, the revenue you made through them almost tripled from $100 million to over $280 million, just as you had planned. That's a lot of money, but even that wasn't enough. Why stop with old people? Risperdal was doing so well, why not start marketing it to parents with mentally ill kids too? So you went to one of the best child psychiatrists you could find and offered him the deal of a lifetime. You would finance a research center specifically for him if he could find a way to prove that Risperdal could be used to treat bipolar disorder in kids. Around 3% of all kids and teens have some kind of bipolar disorder. If your new psychiatrist friend could make it seem like Risperdal worked for them, that would be another 2 million customers to exploit. And sure, Risperdal could cause humiliating side effects for teens, but who cared? You'd be making even more money. No one knows where you would have stopped with the bribes if you hadn't been caught. But in 2010, your little kickback program was blown wide open. Reports revealed that J&J had paid tens of millions of dollars to make Risperdal Omnicare's #1 bestseller. People were appalled. But as always, the shock and horror only lasted a few days. And sure, you got fined a couple of times and even had to settle a couple of lawsuits. But unlike the Sackler family from Purdue Pharma, who were partly responsible for America's opioid crisis, there wasn't any naming or shaming. People just seemed to forget. And eventually the articles and news stories went away too. J&J survived.